What is up, everybody? This has been a long time coming. I'm not gonna lie, I've been working on this behind the scenes for quite a while. I would say maybe a year behind the scenes, putting together research piece by piece, writing the outline, writing the script, how I want to present it, things like that. And this video was inspired because of my success on my other video I did when I was relatively new to YouTube, and somehow those got a ridiculous amount of views, even though my channel has very little subscribers and stuff like that. So I really appreciate everybody that supported these two videos that I made like a year ago. As you can see, the views are pretty decent considering how many subscribers I got. It's not a lot of views when it comes to like other humongous pages or nothing, but like appreciate everybody that supported these videos and helped me inspired to do more. And this is like when I was new. I got a lot more resources now, and I got a lot more funding, and I got a lot more equipment to where I can make more entertaining videos. So I thought it would be even better to do a video about Kratos again, but this time it's going to be young Kratos all the way to the old Kratos, showing his complete evolution, his gear, his power, completely analyzed with lore and etc. Like very much more in deep analysis compared to the last time, and a lot of people still enjoyed that one. So get your popcorn and relax, and let's get right into how strong is Kratos, the son of Zeus of the God of War verse. And all right before I get started, I want to get something out of the air. Like Kratos, he is a video game character, and he does have his fair share of game mechanics, and a lot of people like to use these things to like lowball Kratos and say, oh yeah, he struggled opening the chest and all this stuff. But like when it comes to lore and writer intent for the character, he's definitely not struggling to open no chest when it comes to lore. Like a lot of people like to use that as his like weakness or something. Oh, he struggled to open the chest. We got to do puzzles. I mean, realistically, he could jump to the top of Mount Olympus or, you know, stuff like that without having to do any puzzles, punch through all the walls or puzzles, stuff like that. I will admit there are times in the God of War lore where it does get confusing on whether is it game mechanics or is it true. It can get a little confusing in the God of War lore because there are times where they talk during the cutscenes and you like could get it confused with game mechanics, or it could be lore. Like, is it lore or game mechanics? Like this one example.
How are we getting down there?
I have a plan.
You do?
Do not act so surprised.
Oh, no offense, brother, but I don't even think Thor with Mjolnir in hand could get through that much ice.
Then Thor is a fool.
Statements like this could get people confused on, okay, Kratos can't bust through some ice. Like, why does he have to make a strategy? Like, it's one of those things. This is a pure example of people getting confused game mechanics and, like, writer intent lore. Like, okay, if they wanted to give us a reason to go around the place, explore the place, find treasures, fight different creatures, rather than just busting straight through it, realistically, he should be able to just bust through the ice. Like, even Mimir, the god of knowledge, said he can't, like even Thor from this universe couldn't do it, yet in the same universe it was stated Thor and the Midgard serpents fight like shook all the realms. You see what I'm saying? Like game mechanics, guys. They wanted us to explore around, like type of thing. He has too many feats greater than ice level. Like solid ice, unless this was enchanted ice, then that would make more sense, but still.
Why is that creature in the bay?
No one knows. He just appeared one day. Soon after, Thor attacked, and their battle could be felt across all the realms. Ultimately, it ended in a stalemate, and Thor returned to Odin empty-handed. The serpent stayed and grew so large, he now spans all of Midgard.
So, like, yeah, you clearly see the contradictions in, like, lore versus writer intent and all this stuff. And, yeah, it was that one occasion of him not being able to bust through ice. It's just because you can do puzzles, travel the cliff, I mean, all that good stuff. So, yeah, I would not be using game mechanics when it comes to determining its true power. I mean, I guess one could theorize there's two Kratoses, game mechanics Kratos and lore Kratos. Or, me, I would like to say they're both one and the same. And one could say, you know, they're fused together into one, you know. For the enjoyability of the game, they have to make game mechanics, or the game would be too easy and boring. He would just jump to the top of Olympus, or just bust through the ice, or punch through all the puzzles. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. Kratos has had a big impact when it comes to the action-adventure genre and video games in general. He's like a legendary video game character. In my personal opinion, his games is like in the top tiers of when it comes to action-adventure games. I'm a big action-adventure game person myself, and I would consider his like the gold standard for action-adventure games, if I'm being honest. He kind of reminds me of an anime character is because he actually gets stronger throughout his career. Like at the very beginning of his career, like God of War Ascension, like the very beginning of his career, first game in the saga, periodically, he was considered weaker. He kept getting amps throughout the years, and those were like permanent amps, and you know, that type of thing. It's not just temporary amps. He gets permanent amps and then keeps them, you know what I mean? Kratos has killed pretty much every Greek mythological creature you can think of. Just with raw strength can just rip people in half. Consistently just ripping heads off. He fought this giant prison-like creature in God of War Ascension in his early days. One could say his weakest days, this strong. As you can see, you're doing some incredibly cool finishing moves on him right here. Use his own body right here to pretty much as a weapon, just showing his raw strength back in these early days. Like, this creature was literally connected to an entire prison. Like, this is one of the most creative looking creatures. And it's also canon to the Greek mythology. Does that. Just straightly manhandle these creatures. Creatures that are way bigger than him. These creatures literally stand no chance against him. I don't even know why they even try at this point. This elephant-ish looking creature just gets completely manhandled and stabbed to death like brutal style right here. Boom. It's been plenty of times where you've been shown to be able to fight Medusa-like characters, like, you know, the beings that can turn you into stone, those same beings. Sometimes I start to feel bad for some of these characters like this. It's like, man, Kratos is just abusing them. Like, just rip their head off already. You don't have to abuse them this much. Doing combos with it, as you can see, splits his head in half. He's consistently ripping mouths open. He uses creatures to ride on and use them as a weapon, and then after, just finishes them off. No creature is safe in Kratos' hands. Like, they literally get manhandled every single time, using their own weapons against them on multiple occasions. Brutally. This creature looks familiar from God of War 3, even though it's his prequel. Yeah, he's been fighting these creatures even in the earlier days. In the timeline, right? Boom! Some of these executions, man, it's just, ouch. You're probably wondering why am I showing all this. This is just, I'm just going to go through a feat run of going through all the creatures in more detail type of thing, like I did in my other videos, which made my other videos look successful. Does this. It also helps you get an idea of why his scaling to the other characters is important. Like, scaling him higher than a lot of the characters and what they do is important. So scaling is definitely, because he's fought every character you can pretty much think of in raw power and strength. Does this to this creature here, just disgustingly brutal. No, I'm literally feeling bad for this character right now. You probably know this creature a lot from the Greek mythology, this three-headed dog-ish looking being. Like, he always destroys these beings. I'm purposely not naming the names of the actual creatures yet. I'm going to name them later on. Like, why are you just calling them creatures and stuff? They're Greek mythology. No, I'm actually doing it on purpose right now. Does this with his hammer. Kratos is not afraid of getting down and dirty using hands. Sometimes he executes with just fists. Just destroying creatures. Get his intestines ripped out. Poor creatures. Own staff. Not even flying creatures are safe because he eventually rips them out of the sky. Ouch. What a way to die. Creative ways of killing. All right, enough of the minions. Time to get into the actual vicious bosses. Like, he's pretty much beat every boss known to man. Yep, can react to speed too, as you can see there. Yep, you see the dude warping. Just messing them up in the process. This is brutal. Ouch. That's savage. Yeah, nobody's safe from Kratos even back in these days. Just destroying them. Without even mercy, just strangling beings. First person perspective type of view. Like, it's getting ridiculous. The amount of abuse, it's just ridiculous. Ouch. Ouch. Goodness. Just want to quickly list the bosses that was in this game. Ones that he just completely destroying, by the way. The actual names. By the way, Aegon is one of the 3 Hercules. Is one of the bosses in God of War. And he was banished by the Furies, and he was a giant-sized prison. That's what I showed you a while ago. These beings were like known as the guards to the gates of Tartarus. You know, the place where Kratos was banished. I'll get to that later on in the video. They were children of Gaia, so Kratos has been fighting beings that are related to Gaia even back in his earlier days. Just letting you know how strong he's always been back in the earlier days. You probably remember this being from God of War 3, Manticore. He fought a Manticore. He's what you would call one of those mini bosses. I showed you to him destroy him. And then I showed you this being him murdering this being known as Castor and Pollux. He was related to Zeus. His father is Zeus. Crazy, right? Well, the little weird head on his side, his father was Zeus. The big head dude is, immortal, of course. Kratos is technically his half-brother. Dog with Kratos and killed another brother. One of the main villains of the game were the Furies. It's one of the ones I just showed you him executing. Like Kratos just executed one of the Furies. They're like the main people of the game. The main villains of the game. They are independent race, neither god or titan. In Greek mythology, they are the Titanic deities of vengeance created when Kronos castrated his father and stuff like that. They even became loyal servants of Hades, yada, yada, yada. Just give me a little background real quick. I'm not going to do this for every character, though. Because then the video will be 5 hours long. You know what I mean? Everybody knows of the mythological creature known as the Kraken. Kratos has fought the Kraken, or multiple Krakens, on multiple different occasions in his lore, showing his raw power. Size not meaning nothing. By the way, this is a feat in itself because Krakens are usually considered to be threats to the deities. So yeah, this does concrete Kratos being in a deity range of power. Him being able to overpower it with just pulling strength right here, as you can see. Using his gear in the strategic ways in this, like his gear, I'm gonna get to his gear a little later. Kratos is no stranger to handling more than one being at the same time while fighting at the same time. Impaling his doggone powerful weapon here, charging it up. As you can see, like literally the Furies. Come on, Furies, y'all gotta stop this mess. So basically, Kratos has killed more than gods and titans in this saga, if you haven't noticed already. Amazonian-sized women are pretty huge. See, I like when Kratos just straight up says, I'm just gonna use my hands and I don't even need my weapons to be a threat. Trying to trick him here, as you can see. Trying to manipulate his emotions with his past. Kratos can see through the lies. Does this to another Fury. Poor Furies.
You think you want truth, but truth will only bring you pain.
He's consistently destroying beings. And if anything, this was probably him at his absolute weakest, and he's already defeating beings that are related to Gaia. Gaia, the actual living embodiment of Earth, by the way, like I said in my last video. Let's get into a game that's a little farther in the timeline after the events, but the graphics are worse because the games got released out of order, even though the timeline is in a different order. You know what I mean? Just destroying random warriors like always with ease. I would like to also note something. This is a game where Kratos got some overpowered weapons that has some lore that I'm gonna get into later on in the video as well. Yeah, this is one of them crazy powerful weapons, that big old hand. Then the Gorgon, I told you, always these turn you into stone type characters, you know what I mean? The Gorgon. Seems like a whole bunch of them because it's like mini bosses every single time, right? Just beats the living snot out of this being. Kratos fought this being known as the Morpheus Beast. This Morpheus Beast was a beast. He beat every freaking beast you can think of, and beat him in creative ways. It's like the video gamers was like, let me just find a way to beat him in a creative way. He even fought this being known as the Sphinx with this overpowered weapon. Uses nice execution here. Showing that he does scale higher than most of the characters you see he beats up. So their feats kind of count as his when it comes to power. You got the Hyperion Guard. Just beats the snot out of this being as well. Look at this brutal way of doing it. And ouch. Then he fought this being known as the Death Knight. Another Greek mythological creature that he should scale above because he defeated them all via game lore and right intent. And boom. This fat Persian king that tried to fight Kratos. Why did you even try to fight Kratos? You're not strong enough. Just give up. You're not ready for Kratos. Nope. And nope. 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 He's even fought a giant creature like this, the basilisk, or whatever you call it. Butchering a lot of these Greek mythology names, don't judge me. But as you can see, boom. Man, none of these creatures are matched with the Kratos, man. Let's be honest. He's literally smacking all of them. Just showing his raw power. Like, he did that plenty of times. Poor fella. Feel bad for him right here. By the way, this being was serving under Hades, just in case you were curious. So Kratos was basically destroying Hades' minions and stuff behind the scenes before he even actually killed Hades later on. Kratos, leave this man alone, man. Dang. Yo, this is just abuse. This is abuse at this point. Then he's fought Atlas back in those days. Yeah, a freaking titan, like one of the top tier titans back in these days. A being that should somewhat scale to Zeus level characters. It was like a little scuffle though. He's always having beam struggles and overpowering beings like this and like consistently throughout his career. If I'm not mistaken, that's kind of somebody important.
Your suffering will never end.
In case you didn't know, that being that Kratos killed at the very end of the game was the goddess of the underworld, aka Hades' wife. So that was referenced back, in the God of War 3 game, when Hades fought Kratos. So yeah, Kratos kind of killed Hades' wife too. So he killed Hades and Hades' wife. For those that were wondering why Hades has such a grudge on Kratos, that's why. He killed his sweetie. Doggone it, Kratos. Who haven't you killed, Kratos? Sheesh, you killed literally everybody in the Pantheon. Naturally, Kratos has fought literally every main mythological creature as we go farther in the timeline. He even fought this being known as the Hydra, something that Hercules has fought in mythology. Naturally, Kratos handles this being, showing the raw power of him. Even able to overpower the grip of it, showing his raw strength. Like, he's consistently doing this. Like, why are you always using the environment? Why are you doing this to these creatures, man? Get down and personal with the beings, like just showing like y'all ain't ready for me at all. Look at this. Just pull you into your demise. Ripping stuff in half. Obliterating beings easily. Light work for him. Get off me. Poor creatures, just getting down and gruesome and dirty. Seems to have resistance and transmutation. Literally just crushing beings. Goodness. Can't have a Greek mythology game without you destroying one of these three-headed things. Ouch. Kratos has just too much power. Too much power. If it's not obvious by now, he's very skilled with weapon combat. Pretty much any weapon you can think of, just in case you didn't know. By opening the Pandora's box, he got the power to defeat a god. And yeah, I was wanting to get into this later in the video, but I guess I show it now. He fought, like, he defeated his first actual being from Olympus, like, not counting Hades' wife, of course, but like an actual, god, God of War, Ares. He was even giant and everything in this occasion. Yeah, can match his actual strength of actual one of the gods. Like, doing that. Stabbed him with his own freaking like, what? Like, literally matching Ares. No doubt about that. Goodness. As you can see there, I'm going to explain in this video as well why destroying all the gods of Olympus is more impressive than you're probably thinking, via lore, writing intent, etc. I know I'm repeating a lot of stuff in this video, but it's just so you can really understand it and get it. It's just a lot of lore to Kratos and it's a lot to get. So that's why I'm going over a lot of stuff and repeating a lot of things in the video over and over again. So hopefully you guys can understand and bear with me reasoning on why I'm doing that. So yeah, then that is that. This Titan had the nerve to get bucked with Kratos. Kratos does this and give me your nice bow and arrow. For another being in the Greek mythology lore, one of the many warriors in Greek. Come on, man. He be fighting deities. You ain't ready. No, seriously, you ain't ready. For a being that he's fought in his past again, it was like a deceased, reanimated version of him. Seemed to be powered up more than before. Of course, he has to take care of this same being as well, and his freaking horse, poor horse. Then they fight one-on-one. It doesn't go as well. Even with this new power-up, Kratos is still too strong. Uses his own weapon, like this hammer, which is bigger than their actual heads. God dang. Fights this random rock creature, just showing you he's too much for these creatures. Yeah, all this stuff is relevant, guys. I'll tell you. I promise. I'm not showing you all this stuff for nothing. Another time of him beating a Cerberus. Okay, I'm getting tired of showing like them beating the Cerberuses. But he actually got a cool weapon from it, though. I'll go into his gear a little later on why they're relevant. Was able to deflect magical attacks like the Gorgon Blast that can turn you into stone and do this. Get murked and die right through the neck. Even used his head as a weapon here in this game, one of his many gears, which is canon to the lore. I do believe this is Perseus. Took care of a lot of people. Destroyed his sword. Yo, poor Perseus. Like, literally drowning him. Like, come on, Kratos. Why you gotta do all this? Literally stole this being's wings. Poor feller. Oh, by the way, you already know he's fought a Kraken. Yeah. It seems like a smaller version than the one in the Ascension, though. Fighting mythological creatures consistently. Does this to it. Just abusing this creature. Like that. Crazy part is he actually defeated the Sisters of Fate, who have pretty much complete control over time. It's like they have a destiny set in stone. This is actually pretty crazy when you think about it, because Zeus was actually confident about his wins because he knew the Sisters of Fate was on his side. But Kratos said, forget that. I'm going to change I ain't changing it. That ain't happening. And, you know, I don't know if this is plot, but it's just like, yeah, they control your destiny. So, yeah, they're done. Kratos took care of the Sisters of Fate, beings that control time. So this is kind of impressive. Didn't seem that much of a threat to him physically, though, because, you know, he's one of the gods of strength. Oh, God, this is brutal. Ouch. And then defeated this other creature that had the strands of time, so he can go back in time, so he can change his fate from dying with Zeus. And this time he has different weapons, and he's got new allies, and all that good stuff. Yeah, these people really getting murked. Poor characters. Ouch. Much power. As everybody knows, the famous feats of him fighting Zeus and stuff, especially the first round. This is one of those battles where he didn't actually win this first round, though. He actually, like, tricked Zeus, told him he about to give up. Told him about he laid down his arm. Zeus being the Skyfather and more powerful than all the creatures or beings he's faced up this far, and has a ton of abilities. Too much raw power. Still can fight. He'll slug it out with him in strength, though. Yeah, this is when Zeus was too powerful. He actually said, I'll lay down my arm.
Release me from this tormentor.
Yeah, he actually, he was getting overpowered to the point at this point, but he had to trick him instead. Doing this in the process. He's always been consistently shown to be able to harm beings on this level, though. This is a big deal, considering what Zeus has done. I'm going to go into it. Crucifixion style. Through the era of the God of War 1 through God of War 3 era, Kratos has had a lot of eras over his career, and pretty much all of them are considered canon to his lore, and that's the crazy part is. Like a lot of video game characters, he has like a large arsenal of gear, but this does not mean he has all his weapons. He has super strength like crazy to the point where he can beat characters down that he's murked with these weapons with his bare hands too, but just to showcase what he's always had. Everybody knows about the Blades of Chaos. These are the most famous blades he has. He's had these blades made for him, forged by a master. He also had magical abilities like the fires of Ares, Ares fire, energy projection style. This is what I was talking about earlier when I said amps. He was getting amped by the deities. He's gotten props from deities all throughout his career, like the ice of Poseidon, being able to use stuff that Poseidon gave him and stuff. He also got lightning of Zeus. He even has this thing called the souls of Hades. He even has items and amulets like the amulet of Ouroboros, stolen from the oracle Aletheia by the prophet Castor. This amulet gem can show the life and death of an object. This is the O Stone of Orkros in God of War Ascension. It can create a clone of his wielder made of black slime and stuff like that. Not a perfect clone, like a bullcrap clone, you know what I mean? As I mentioned earlier, the Furies were the main villains of Ascension. These are like the gear he had from the Furies. These were created by the Furies, the Eyes of Truth. You can see through the dark magic of the Furies. They can destroy any magical barriers, dark magic, and illusions type of thing. Now, this is one of the overpowered weapons, of course, and still not one of the most powerful weapons in the game. This is a good way to start off scaling. This is the gauntlet that Zeus used, forged by Hephaestus, craft a weapon that would bind the Titans to the very walls of Tartarus. This was the Gauntlet of Zeus. In this game, he can summon this being known as Ifrit. This is kind of, the same being you see in Final Fantasy. Those type of beings. He can summon this to help him, aid him in battle. Everybody knows about his golden fleece he has on his arm, but before that, he had other weapons, like during the Chain of Olympus saga, during that time era. He was in the Temple of Helios, that's being that I'm probably going to show you later on in this video. It is used to deflect attacks. It's the Sun Shield. It was actually the personal shield of Helios. It was attached to his throne. He used it. Kratos also has this blade called the Blade of Artemis. He had it temporarily. This was actually used by the goddess of the hunt. In case you're wondering what is the blade that Kratos actually killed Ares with, it wasn't the Blade of Olympus. It looked a lot similar. It was called the Blade of the Gods, by the way. Just in case you was wondering. It's big behind sword. Yeah, Kratos was huge when he fought Ares. I honestly don't know why they changed the name of Blades of Chaos to Blades of Athena. It's basically the Blades of Chaos upgraded, so it's whatever. But yeah, he basically got some new upgraded blades, which is basically the Blades of Chaos, but that's none of my business, called Blades of Athena. He got them at the end of God of War 2, and these are the weapons you see him using God of War 3, which I didn't even go over yet. One of the many weapons and items he got in God of War 2 is the Medusa head. He can use that to literally turn people into stone, Haxy type of ability. He also got this cool spear like I showed earlier. Then you got the most powerful weapon in the whole saga of the Blade of Olympus. I'm definitely going to be back to this in a little bit. All right, here we go. We got the Claws of Hades and pretty much all the weapons you know and love in God of War 3 and stuff like that. But before I get into why all of that stuff is important, don't worry, guys. We're getting there. Just hold on. I'm just trying to really dig into what I'm about to tell you in a little bit on why that stuff is important. But I get into some of the executions of what Kratos did in God of War 3. Right, I showed some of these fights in more detail in my actual other video about Kratos in the past, so I'm not gonna go through all this. But yeah, he literally single-handedly, he's so powerful to this point in the saga. He literally just beat down all of the deities, and it's not just his weapons either. He in this occasion he did it with his bare hands, like I showed in my other video about Kratos that was very successful. Yeah, showing his raw strength. Just for those that are like, oh, he's nothing without his weapons and stuff. No, that's definitely not the case. Showing he has the attack power to just straight up do this to godlike beings. Hey, it's kind of their fault too, because they kind of helped them in the past games a little bit, getting some of them, the ice of Poseidon, that type of thing. He's got too much stuff at this point, man. Night. He already killed his wife. Now he got to actually kill him. Hades, another top tier god being that should be somewhere in the range of Zeus, not up there, not equal to Zeus or nothing, but yeah, you get the idea. Using his own weapons against them to make it worse. Hades is no freaking joke. Even does this to Hades himself. Absolutely madness. Remember, I just showed you about Helios having all the weapons from Helios in the previous games, from the Temple of Helios, like his shield. He actually took on Helios himself. In his defense, he did get messed up by a Titan before this occasion, but let's be honest, he wouldn't have beat Kratos anyway because all the other feats. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Literally brutalized them. He had like a personal vendetta against Helios. It's like, man, I feel bad for this dude. Like, ouch. This is very painful. Get freaking murked. It's implied he has pretty good combat speed. Even the God of Speed characters like Hermes seem like nothing to him. Straight up does that. Not nice. Everybody remembers him fighting the God of Strength himself, Hercules, like I showed in my previous video about Kratos. Just hammers away, takes his own weapons against him, can overpower him in tug of wars, all that good stuff, all that 9 yards. Able to bypass his durability with his raw punching power with his own weapon that he had at first, his brutal savage style. And his face is getting caved in as we speak. And no more head for you. Man, these deities must not be that strong. If Kratos is just mop. No, it's not that they're weak. It's just that he's just that strong. I mean, I've already showed you him fighting Titans in the past, the earlier part of this video, but he also fought Kronos. Scaling with Kronos is very important to this video, and I'm going to show you that in a bit. Just wanted to show you here. Kronos is actually a lot more powerful than you're probably thinking, because you see him chained up like this, but this took some godlike equipment to even chain him up like this. Like I showed you earlier in the video, the Gauntlet of Zeus, the Blade of Olympus, all this stuff took to banish Kronos to another realm and all that craziness. Shown on a couple occasions to be able to overpower him in just raw strength without even using the gear, just using, look at that. Just using the raw strength right there. Kronos is literally a mountain-sized Titan, but definitely way past mountain level. And this idiot would eat somebody that's this strong in his mouth. Probably the stupidest decision, Kronos. I know you're God tier, but yo, don't eat somebody that's God tier like you. Raw power right there. Yeah, that's painful. Just had to finish off Kronos, didn't you, Kratos? Just a straight savage, holding a straight temple on his back. Then takes care of him with the Blade of Olympus, the weapon made by Zeus himself, the being that trapped him here in the first place. Just give you an idea of how strong he is. He had to pull this out on him, even though he was already done. Kratos, that's overkill, Kratos. Like, dang, you really didn't have to do all that. This genius Hephaestus, this forger deity, tried to take on Kratos, a being that's fighting Hades and then freaking Kronos. Dumbest decision you could have ever made.
Everything is dying because of you. The sun is gone.
Kratos doesn't give a crap about all that bull crap. At last, the moment you have all been waiting for, showing that he can hang with the King of Olympus himself, Skyfather, just raw punches as you can see here, doing combos straight fist style, still can harm him, showing his raw strength. Yo, he's consistently shown to be able to match Zeus in raw strength, tug of war style, being able to have, what, arm struggles, or some would call beam struggles. Use this Blade of Olympus, part of his power, to take on Zeus. Kratos gets yet another power-up. The power of Pandora's box was awakened since he got it from the first game, evidently, because when he opened it in this game, it was empty. But like, he got it awakened, and he reached a whole new level of power to the point where he was even able to, like, he was already able to match Zeus in strength, but this time he can actually kill Zeus with his raw power alone, and it was actually like a beatdown type status type of thing. Now, a lot of people assume that Kratos older in the new game is a lot weaker because it was some implications that he kind of gave up some of this power that he did have. Like, for example, at the end of the game in God of War 3, he evidently he looked like he killed himself and a lot of energy came out of his body and went back into the sky or whatever. So it's like, is that the reason why people think he's nerfed, or is he nerfed because of that? Or is he not nerfed at all and that was just for animation and cinematics? You know what I mean?
That is why you should give me the power.
The power of hope. She was negotiating of giving the power of hope to Athena and stuff like that. That Kratos didn't trust deities with that type of power.
You owe me this, Kratos.
I owe you nothing.
I made you a god. I sheltered you from the wrath of Olympus. I delivered you revenge on Zeus.
It is over, Athena. My vengeance ends now.
Did this get rid of the power of hope? That's what it seems like they're implying, that it kind of got rid of the power of hope, which is why people might think he's nerfed maybe, but who knows if this really weakened him or not, you know? Probably not. Who knows? But of course, we all know he didn't actually die from this. And then, of course, in God of War 4 came out. It was a beautiful game, by the way. But like the moment you have been waiting for. So far, I pretty much showed you all the beings that Kratos has beat, executed throughout the Greek mythology, showing his raw strength, power increases throughout the years, weapons, gear, and etc. But why is these things important? Like I said before in the video, writer intent lore is important. You can't use things like game mechanics like opening chest or doing puzzles when realistically he should have just jumped to the top of Mount Olympus or punched his way to the next room based on the strength and lore he has. And when it comes to lore, that's one thing Kratos does not lack. And lore does kind of beat all. Feats is second and lore is first. You got to work the feats off the lore type of thing. So what is Kratos' writer intent? One of the number one arguments for Kratos that people try to lowball him with is that you will probably hear people say something along these lines. Well, he isn't that strong because we haven't seen nobody in God of War bust the universe. We ain't seen nobody bust the planet. We ain't seen nobody bust the solar system. We haven't seen nobody actually do no star explosions. So how can we concrete Kratos being that strong if we haven't seen him or anybody he's fought done any feats on that scale? But the problem is with that, that's because that's a game mechanic. We can't have, a game where every time you punch somebody, the planet explodes. You know what I mean? That would be kind of redundant. They have to remake the Earth or fight on another planet every time they fight. You know what I mean? That's the type of thing. The people he fights is actually a very important part to really get an understanding on how strong Kratos is. Also, the weapons he uses. This is the type of stuff people don't really dig deep into. There was these beings known as primordials. These beings are like very crucial when it comes to scaling on how strong Kratos is. These beings were the first race and entities that were in the God of War verse. They even predates the God and Titans. They're pure cosmic type of beings, like abstract type of beings. They're vastly huge.
In the time before the Titans, before the gods of Olympus, a great battle was waged. The wrath of the primordials. The very beings who forged the earth. Raged out of control for an eternity. And from this rage, this madness of war.
And of course, in the book, you can see the primordials. Uranus represents the heavens. Oriel represents the mountains. Keto, the oceans. And Chaos is life. I know what you're thinking. They didn't state it in the intro that they created the universe. Well, what about the writers that created the game and wrote the script of the game? What about their word? Does their word matter? One of the lead artists confirmed it. His name is Patrick Murphy. They said yes, they did create the universe. And the senior writer of the series created all the galaxies and the side effect of their fight. Created Ariel Lawrence. This is also evident in the intro when one of these characters fall down. You see a whole bunch of galaxies bust out as you fall. As you can see, one of the primordials even look like a darn universe and stars like they exist inside of them. You see what I'm saying? See that? All that was created, as you can see, during their fight. In the comic books, which are canon to the lore, they pretty much confirmed that he created the universe. Stated here, Uranus, one of the primordials I just showed you, gave life to the universe. This is Primordial's first son that said this. So yeah, he would know. This is Uranus's first son, by the way, that stated he gave life to the universe. Stated here, yet more lore. This world is the birthright of we who were born to the son of chaos, father of the universe. Yep, more lore for you. Even stated that those can rule all what Uranus created. The primordial did give birth to the cosmos. Too much lore to back this up. You're probably wondering, why am I bringing up Uranus so much? Uranus. Probably wondering why I'm bringing that up so much. That's very, very important. Remember, Uranus, the primordial. So you guys remember Uranus, right? Why is he so important? Okay, do you remember Kronos, the being that I just literally showed you earlier in the video of Kratos defeating? What if I told you Kronos was born from this primordial being and he overthrew him and fought this being and overpowered him in an actual fist fight, like an actual one-on-one fight in like a cosmic scale? What if I told you Kronos fought a being like that? And yet you saw how Kratos embarrassed him and smashed him and how Zeus defeated Kronos. Like, you just give me an idea of the people they're fighting already scaling wise when it comes to raw power. This is actually accurate to the myth too, the mythological Greek mythology. This actually happened in Greek mythology. So this is actually accurate to that. So it's like two concretes to it. So in God of War, God of War timelines get a little confusing here and there. God of War Ascension, God of War, all that stuff. They pretty much stated in both those timelines, so you can't say it was only one timeline. No, in both timelines, they pretty much confirm that he did defeat his actual father. Kratos did beat Uranus in actual cosmic scale in the lore. More proof of that right here on the official God of War page. Still not convinced of his power? Okay, I got some more for you. Don't worry. How about an interview of the people confirming this as well?
They overthrew their parents, Kronos castrating Uranus and basically overthrowing his parents.
He dismembered his own dad, right? He'd been given a special sword, and he'd lopped off his member and overthrown his dad, and he didn't want this to happen to him. So he thought the best way to do it would be to, swallow his children.
Zeus gets pissed off, decides he's going to overthrow him.
And yeah, the writers did confirm this is true, by the way. Yeah, I'm finding all this stuff on Facebook and stuff. People asking questions, very specific questions and answers and stuff like that. Just for those wondering, he used some special hacks or cheat code to beat his father. No, he beat him in raw power, like a straight up fight. It was cosmic in scale. It's stated here, as you see here. More proof right here, a final confirmation that Kronos didn't beat Uranus, the primordial that created the universe. They created universes with their punches, type of thing. They created galaxies in a fist fight while they're in the middle of the battle, type of fist fight thing. I don't know how much writer intent I need, but here's more further proof of the scans from the people that made the game. Yeah, there you have it. The director of God of War 3 even confirmed it. It was a cycle, like I showed you earlier in the video, Kronos trying to kill his own son, Zeus, thus the cycle of hatred between Kratos and fathers and sons, Kratos wanting to kill his own father, all the 9 yards. Did I mention in the very same game, the Kronos blade refers to Uranus, the primordial, like I keep saying. It's a multiplayer weapon. One of the special moves is called Portrayal of Uranus, clearly refers to Kronos standing against his father. Yep, that's, what more do I even need? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just too much implications of that. Okay, if that's not enough, how about we get into a little bit deeper of the lore of the power and how strong the weapons are in the actual God of War lore. Okay, guys, you remember Kronos. I keep on bringing him up. You know how Kronos beat his father who created the universe. They had a cosmic scale battle. Even though it was off screen, we can get the picture. Like, this same Kronos had a brother known as Hyperion. Being Hyperion had this weapon that was ridiculously powerful. It was forged in the sun's core. You're probably thinking, oh, it's multiplayer. Oh, it's not a part of the lore. Actually, I have proof of it actually being a part of the lore. Multiplayer weapon. It states right here, forged inside the sun's core. This spear possesses the strength to bear the weight of the universe. You probably think that's a pun. That's not a pun based on all the feats I've shown you this far in the lore of God of War so far, especially with the fact the primordials, Uranus, and Kronos beating Uranus is Kronos' brother, that type of thing. And by the way, it is confirmed that the weapons and props in the multiplayer of the game are a part of the actual lore, not just for fun purposes. You know how some games do, they put stuff in there that's not a part of the lore. No, this is not the case for God of War. They actually put this a part of the lore. So yeah, they have weapons this powerful, literally this powerful. Not to mention one of the moves is called Scars of Uranus, the primordial. Just letting you know, it's referring to the literal embodiment of the universe, Uranus. Next to this form I found, they actually asked in-depth questions to the actual writer, and they're saying the description is true, like literally. And yet again, there is even more further proof of them saying that it is to be taken literally. And based on the power of the primordials, Kronos beating his own dad, all that stuff adds up to that so far. The weapons in this lore of this game's verse being this powerful. So why is all of this important, you ask? Well, this is important because that weapon is still not even nowhere near the strongest weapon in the God of War verse. We all know that honor belongs to the Blade of Olympus. Yeah, so that just gives you an idea when it comes to the minimum scaling. Weapons that are weaker than the Blade of Olympus have the raw power to be able to bear the weight of the cosmos, and this weapon is nothing compared to the Blade of Olympus. Let you know the scope and scale of characters like Zeus, Hades, and etc. to the primordials, and Kronos overthrowing the primordials, Zeus overpowering Kronos, banishing Kronos, the same being that created the universe or cosmos, one of the primordials. And then you got Pandora's box being described as the most powerful weapon on Earth or in the game or in the God of War verse. So you got to remember that Kratos was amped with this same weapon, and you got to remember all that scaling go. Just to give you an idea of the verse, the weapons and the amps of this universe. The crazy part about that spear that was able to hold or bear the weight of the cosmos, that still didn't evidently put him up there with the top tiers. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he made a weapon that strong, but that still couldn't make him match characters like Zeus or overpower characters like Zeus or overpower or make a weapon stronger than the Blade of Olympus, right? They couldn't. It didn't really put him up there with the deities and the Greek gods mythology in the game's lore that much. So you got to put that in consideration. So a weapon that can bear the weight of the cosmos on it has that much power, but that's still low tier. Like what? Okay, I'm not an expert on being above time and space and stuff, but it's implied that Kronos is above time and space. Okay, you're probably thinking, what? Okay, it gets a little confusing, but evidently implications of this because of his heritage and the fact that Gaia knew who future Kratos was in the game of God of War 2. You remember God of War 2? She actually, like, it's like it's stated that Gaia is omnipresent, like past, present, and future. Like they're evidently higher dimensional beings. Not going to spend too much time on this because it gets a little confusing to explain. This does get a little confusing because he does know who Kratos is even back before evidently Kratos was ever around, right? She knew what was going to happen in the past, present, and future. You're probably thinking, well, if they already knew what was going to happen, how did they lose the war? Well, simply because this is a feat I told you about early in the video. The Sisters of Fate. They control everybody's fate. So it's like set in stone type of thing. It's like no matter what they knew, just because they knew it doesn't mean, they're going to win. It gets a little confusing.
The destruction of Zeus is why you saved me from death.
I saved you to serve the Titans. I saved you to serve the Titans. I saved you to serve the Titans.
Like, it's so strange that the guy from the future saved Kratos from dying, but Kratos travels back in time, and the Gaia from the past still knows what's going on. She knows about the whole deal. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's like they're everywhere in time at once. Like, it gets really crazy when you think about the level of beings these beings actually are. It's like, wow. These beings were kind of overpowered to have this much control.
Out of my way.
Your resolve is admirable.
Even if it is misguided.
None can change their destiny, Kratos. We sisters determine the fate of all. It was I who deemed that the Titans lose the Great War. It was I who deemed that the Titans lose the Great War. It was I who deemed that the Titans lose the Great War. And I who have allowed you to come this far. It is not your destiny to kill Zeus.
You no longer control my destiny. You no longer control my destiny.
Explaining that she's the one that deems the Titans lose the Great War. So it's like not even really fair. It's like no such thing as free will, really. It's like they already know what's going to happen before they do it. But they got to at least try, right? But Gaia evidently had other plans. So because she's evidently above time and space and she knew they would lose and all that craziness, like, yeah, it gets crazy confusing. To get even more understanding about the level of power of characters in this verse, okay, you already know how strong Kronos is. Remember Helios, the same being that Kratos like destroyed? Like, you're probably, oh, he's nothing. Well, to give you an idea of how strong this guy actually is, it actually helps more implications of Kratos' power and really to show what is the scope of the beings in this verse already.
On the edge of the Aegean, where the great god Helios banishes Nyx from the night sky, where the great god Helios banishes Nyx from the night sky, where the great god Helios banishes Nyx from the night sky.
Nyx is the primordial god of night, so no, Helios is no joke either, by the way. In the God of War lore, Nyx evidently has her own realm as a dimensional portal, which has its own real stars, moons, and etc. in her dimension, which actually makes sense to the fact that it's actually canon to the myth. Probably the most important scaling is the fact of Zeus. We all know how powerful Zeus is. We know that Kratos fought Zeus, defeated Zeus, especially with his new power-ups and etc. over the years. This is especially important. Like, Zeus literally made Kronos, like, not only did he defeated Kronos, banished him, but he like literally made him throw up all the siblings that he tried to eat. Sliced open his belly to free the siblings, Poseidon and Hades. And this is what caused them to lead a great war against the Titans and etc. The war was for hundreds of years and everything. That's when he made that overpowered weapon, Blade of Olympus. Forcibly took control over the universe from the Titans. Only being above Zeus in this lore is, you guessed it, it's Kratos, of course, in case you were wondering. A being that beat his own father, who literally birthed the universe. Their battle was cosmic at scale, and Zeus defeated this being, overthrew this being, got his siblings out of his stomach that he tried to eat, and Kratos beat that same being. Is there any more I need to say?
The Titans and the Olympians forged the land landscape of the mortal world. It was a war.
Not to mention characters like Hades, Zeus's older brother that Zeus is above, but it was able to kind of match Kronos' raw strength in his own, and we already know Kronos is like cosmic in scale at this point, so that's saying something. Yeah, Hades is this strong, and yeah, of course Kratos beat Hades too, so in strength and etc. It's also confirmed that Hades does get stronger with every soul he consumes. As powerful as Kronos is, its implications that Zeus at this point has grown considerably above Kronos to a decent gap. Like, it just pretty much one-shots Kronos at this point, yeah, with the Blade of Olympus, of course. Not to mention, Kratos also is implied to have amps, like the many amps I've told you about in this video already. He's gotten over his career. He got amped after he beat Hades because he absorbed souls, just like Hades does, because he got his weapons. And these amps more than likely helped him to be able to fight these upper-tier characters like that, right? And they're permanent amps, right? The same thing with Zeus. The crazy thing about this, he still never really could get the advantage over Zeus, even with this Blade of Olympus. Even though he got stabbed, he would temporarily beat him for a little while, but he didn't really actually kill him until like later on in the game. You know what I mean? Like, I showed this several times. Zeus gets stabbed by the blade a few times, and he's not like dead though. Like, that's crazy, right? Even the time where he got pierced by it here, he still didn't completely die. He survived again after all of this, showing that, yeah, he is pretty decently above these titans and primordials. They all scale to one another. These primordials are cosmic in scale. That would mean like Kratos has to be cosmic in scale after all these power-ups and stuff he's got. Because remember at the beginning of the game when he tried to fight Zeus, he kind of got blasted all the way back to the bottom of Olympus. You know what I mean? Then of course you guys remember the famous power of him like getting the ultimate power, the power of hope. Like, that's when he became the ultimate, like, above everybody in the entire verse, above primordials, above Zeus, above Kronos. Considering how crazy Kronos was, he beat his own father who birthed the universe. He did that freaking Zeus. Like, that's kind of crazy. There's this pillar that evidently holds the whole God of War verse together. If it was destroyed, the universe would be like a void, like destroying all of creation. It was stated again that the pillar would end all creation if it was destroyed.
For all that came before to end, for all that came before to end, I released Atlas. Atlas completed the task I set him out to do. With the power of the sun in his hands, it is only a matter of time before he destroys the pillar that holds the world. And Olympus with it. Do you think it was my choice to wed a man I did not love? Once the pillar is destroyed, the world will revert into chaos. Once the pillar is destroyed, the world will revert into chaos. Once the pillar is destroyed, the world will revert into chaos.
There you have it. There's definitely implication that the world pillar is more than just, planet level or continental, or what people are thinking, that the world will revert to chaos type of thing. Yep, you see it right here. The world will revert into chaos. Yeah, the pillar is more than just just Olympus getting messed up. It was a realm that preceded the normal string of things. Like, it was the realm that they were fighting in before the actual universe was created, like the chaos and actual dimension type thing. Like, what? Not to mention, it's pretty much confirmed that Atlas was actually holding up the heavens on his shoulders, a being that Kratos is stronger than, at this point especially. Remember that primordial I keep bringing up? He's basically the embodiment of the universe. Okay, I don't know how to say this weapon. It's the Antikythera mechanism. It's a gear they use to say what? Track the heavens, the cosmos, they try to imply. You can actually go on Wikipedia and look it up. It's actually based on myth that they use in mythology. Similar to, the game is similarly taking things from what they use in myth into the game to further back up its lore.
You were being crowned the god of war. I was sent to find an apple. They called them labors. Perhaps he did allow me to kill the Nemean lion. Kill the Nemean lion. Kill the Nemean lion.
The same being, Hercules, was able to do the same thing. Of course, like similar to the myth, able to hold the heavens on the heavens, cosmos. Ridiculous. Kratos is stronger than this same being. To further back up the power of the beings in the God of War lore, it is implied that, Ares possibly created a dimension with stars, galaxies, and etc. possibly. At this point, you got to believe Kratos is a monster. And he's definitely not planet level at best. I mean, so far, I do believe I went over quite a bit to really give you an idea of how strong they are. Like, literally, Kronos boxed it out with a primordial that literally gave birth to the universe, created galaxies and punches. It is implied that Kronos is the father of time, created time, and all this craziness. Before that was chaos. It was a realm with a void with no time existing type of thing. Like, it was crazy like that. Like, these are the type of people Kratos is fighting. And then you got the implication of how powerful Gaia is, the mother of Earth, seems to be omnipresent, knew what was going on in the past, present, and future. Like, literally, future Kratos met a different Gaia and she knew what was going on. Like, how do you even know that? And then you got the fact that people try to say, oh man, that's bad writing, or no, it's implications that she's omnipresent, being above time and space because of Kronos, a being that she's related to, another Titan. Oh, they couldn't win the war even though she knew everything was going to happen. Well, because the Sisters of the Fate control when it comes to the Greek mythology, God of War lore, they deemed whoever is victorious. That's why Zeus is so cocky. He even stated in God of War 2, that's why they deemed me victorious and all that stuff. So to tally up all this stuff, the primordial cosmic being known as Uranus created the universe, one of the many primordials who are all comparable in power, by the way, actually got overthrown by Kronos, the same being we seen get overpowered by Zeus and Kratos over and over again. This is very important for the scaling process on the lore of God of War characters and how strong they really are. And then you got the spear, known as the Hyperion Spear, that can bear the weight of the universe. But this is still considered nothing compared to the actual Blade of Olympus, which Kratos has and owns. Not even going to talk about the Power of Hope, which is confirmed to be above this too. The Pandora's Box amp being above this, which is the Power of Hope and stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. It's above all of that. This is a fighter weapon, and this can bear the weight of the universe, and it's not an exaggeration. Not to mention the Atlas is confirmed to be holding up the heavens, not the world itself. The pillar, world pillar, could cause everything to cease to exist. Kronos' birth created time. This doesn't seem to be an exaggeration considering that Gaia knew what was going on in the past, present, and future. It's just the Sisters of Fate were like not letting them be able to have their own fate, basically, because they're the Sisters of Fate. Not to mention also the God of War universe's version of Hercules implies to have myth feats similar to Atlas holding the heavens and etc. like that. That would be making sense to this spear right here that can bear the weight of the universe. So Hercules got beat down by Kratos before his... Yeah, and Zeus is above all these beings that defeated Kronos, and Kratos is above Kronos. It's just crazy that people really want to stick to game mechanics and really not look into his lore like that. But then you got the even more proof of Kratos' power. And then there's this controversial thing about, is younger Kratos stronger than older Kratos? It's implied that Kratos is going to have some lore in the new game too, the one with Thor that he's supposed to be fighting, the brand new one. It's implied that he's going to have some cosmic scale battles in that too. I mean, because even in the new God of War 4, there's some statements in lore to back this up.
Thor attacked, and their battle could be felt across all the realms. Ultimately, it ended in a stalemate.
So it does imply that they're going to keep this trend going of cosmic scale battles. Like, it implied that Thor and the Midgard Serpent had a battle, even in this new game's lore, that their battle could be felt across all the realms. To me, that sounds like more than continental and planetary to me. I'm just saying.
You killed Magni. You killed Magni. You killed Magni.
That he did.
He was a god, but you killed him. He was a god, but you killed him.
Considering what Kratos has done in the past already, and this is older Kratos, more experienced Kratos, they don't seem to be really trying to nerf him. He killed more deities in this new game. Magni, Thor's sons.
And his father is Thor.
Not minor. Not minor at all, him.
I defended us. Nothing more.
Amir, what else did the serpent tell you when you spoke?
It is said that when Jormungandr and Thor battle at Ragnarok, their clash so violently shakes the tree of life that it splinters, casting the serpent backward through time, even before his own birth. It is said that when Jormungandr and Thor battle at Ragnarok, their clash so violently shakes the tree of life that it splinters, casting the serpent backward through time, even before his own birth.
What?
That is madness.
Then you have a statement like that to really confirm the scale of which God of War is really trying to push. They're saying that they're going to be doing some, like they're going to be hitting each other or fighting with such large intensity. They're going to be sending each other through time. Kratos even mentioned that's madness. Considering what he's been through, he's impressed by that level of like the madness of these scopes of these battles. It's very heavily implication that he's way stronger than a lot of people are giving him credit for. And people are really abusing game mechanics and not really digging deep into the lore. God of War does have differences to the lore than the actual real Greek lore. but there's also a lot of similarities, especially like holding up the heavens and all that craziness. And you know how Marvel Hercules did it too. He held up the actual, like it looked like stars was on his back, you know, type of thing. And as you know, Kratos overpowered Zeus, the same being that banished these beings with these overpowered weapons and gear and etc. Kratos does a lot of this stuff with his physical strength too. But guys, I hope I didn't leave nothing crucial out. I hope you guys found this video comprehensive. I hope I really broke it down really good for you to really get an idea of how strong Kratos is. I know it can be a little bit confusing on trying to figure out how strong a character is when they got game mechanics involved. That the game developers are really stuck in a pickle trying to find a way to make the game epic and a large scope without it, you know, ruining the experience by one-shotting everybody or something like that, or blowing up the whole planet or continent they're on every single time. You got to create a whole new landscape. Like imagine being a game developer and you make a battle, to every battle you do, it destroys the entire continent, and you got to like really digitize a whole new landscape to explore and stuff because your battle destroyed the entire, you know what I'm saying? That would be kind of like, think about it in a job perspective. Like that's why I look at it like that. But yeah, Kratos is very strong, definitely one of the most powerful beings in the universe. More than likely can lift the heavens on his back too. At that very end, he got multiple amps throughout his career, absorbing the soul of Hades himself. Hades confirmed he gets stronger with every soul he consumes. Kratos did the same thing to him, and we know at the beginning of that game, Kratos kind of got handled by Zeus in the beginning of that game, and even at the end of God of War 2, when he fought Zeus, he kind of didn't really win. You know, he kind of had to trick him to get cheap shots in with the Blade of Olympus, and it also was implied that he needed the Blade of Olympus. But then at the very, very, very end of the saga, Kratos grew in power so much when he awakened the power of hope, the Pandora's box amp that he had all along. He ended up being able to just beat him down with his pure hands when he couldn't even hardly do it, or barely even really kill him with the Blade of Olympus. So showing that he didn't really need the Blade of Olympus anymore. Is he still at those levels? Well, that's yet to be seen. Who knows? He might be, he might not be. He might have gave it up at the end when he shot all the energy in the air, or he stabbed himself in the end of God of War 3. But then he could still have it because the writer said, why not keep the power? I'm interested to hear you guys' thoughts on this. Did I confuse you on some things? Did I break it down? Did I do too much scaling? I try to not do too much scaling. I tried to make it make sense on the writer intent and lore behind it. I do think it's heavily implication that the writers do want Kratos to be above the planetary ranges, even if you believe some of the feats are just planet level, like some of the quotes that can be a little vague about, you know, the pillar, the world pillar. Like they in Greek and then in the games, they always use the word world, even though they might mean universe or cosmos, like, because you know that's how they talk. Other than that, it is implied that even in the new saga, it still has strong writer intent with them really going, you know, he's in the Norse mythology now. He's going to be fighting Thor, probably Odin, and eventually. How does those deities rank in the God of War verse? Do they automatically scale to Zeus like other, you know, how Marvel Comics does? Like, is it like Marvel Comics, how Zeus and Odin are comparable? Or is Zeus and Odin gonna be in different power levels in this new God of War series? Is Odin gonna be way above Zeus? I mean, that's gonna be madness considering how crazy Zeus is. And based on scaling of this video, I might even do more God of War videos like this, maybe about Zeus, analyzing Kronos or Helios or something. But what do you guys think? This is like my ultimate extended version of Kratos since my other video was successful. Thank you guys for all that love on that other video. And hopefully I can do more for you guys because I enjoy doing content like this. It's a lot of work, but hey, it's worth it in the end, entertainment purposes wise. Did you guys know Kratos was this strong? He's definitely probably one of the top tiers when it comes to video game characters. He might actually be the strongest top tier video game character when it comes to original characters made to be video games. And you got some other good contenders like Dante, Bayonetta, and a few others. But it's like when it comes to Kratos might actually have the top spot on the most powerful. And you got characters like Azura too, from Azura's Wrath. He's up there too. But like, yeah, Kratos more than likely is a top tier being, and he's got like in way stronger than city level, country level, continental than a lot of people were originally thinking because of game mechanics and how Travis can kill him with one shot in the game and crazy stuff like that. But yeah, I honestly can't wait for God of War, the next one, to see Kratos fight Thor. Well, he did kill his sons, right?
How did you? You have no idea. You son of a bitch!
But if this is your first video you see me on, hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a comment, subscribe. I do comment back. Got any questions, replies, and etc. If you enjoy my page so far and you're new, welcome to the page, welcome to the family. Marathon through the page, see what you like. Check out the description, playlist, everything. I plan on doing more video game characters too, like maybe Cloud from Final Fantasy, or even Red Dead Redemption characters. That's new, right? Yeah, that'll be cool. Dante from Devil May Cry. Maybe characters like Sephiroth, maybe in the future. Who knows what the future holds? I just want to get into a lot of characters. Plus, I like a lot of video game characters too. And I'm trying to get into more genres of video games too. But what do you guys think? Post your comments down below. Let me know what you all think. Post them comments down below. Let me know what you all think. And I'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed this ridiculously long video of research and hard work and dedication I put. I'll see you guys next time.